Check it out. This time on the Dirt Head Shed, we're going to talk about my old Isuzu Amigo. This is a rig that I built like 15 years ago. I'm down here in San Diego. It's like sunny and beautiful out, obviously. I came down for Thanksgiving to hang out with my family, and I bailed on them. It's Friday, it's like Black Friday, so they're all out doing shopping and stuff like that. And I went four-wheeling, came up here to Corral Canyon, and my friend Tim, who I had sold this Isuzu to, brought it along. So I wanted to do sort of a walk around on this rig, because it's kind of cool. This is like history before the Dirt Head Shed. This is actually history from before dirt every day. So this is a rig that I've had for a heck of a long time. Basically, this is an oddball vehicle, obviously. This is a 1999 Isuzu Amigo. Definitely not your most common like 4x4 build platform, and it was perfect for me at the time. I had just got into Jeeping. I had built a Jeep Comanche that worked okay, but it wasn't great. It had a bunch of things that weren't heavy duty enough on it, and I really didn't want to throw a bunch of money at it. So I wanted to build something that was a little bit, well, I wanted something with a frame because that unibody was garbage. Sorry, Cherokee owners, but I needed something with a frame that was boxed front to rear. I wanted something that was fuel injected, and I wanted something that made a bunch of power, and it seated the whole family because my family was growing. At the time I built this, it was just me and my wife and a dog. And by the time I sold it, I had like 2 kids and a dog and another dog and a cat, and everybody had to ride in this thing. So I built this thing SUV so that we had room inside. It had a top, it had doors, it has all these options. It's kind of a cool rig where right now it looks pretty hardcore because it has like tube doors on it, and you can see the roll cage in the back and all that. But it does still close up. It's got a top for it, it's got doors, it's got a heater still. It never had working air conditioning, probably still doesn't. But let's go and dig into the suspension and show you some of the cool stuff on that. Right on. So this was an independent suspension rig in the front, and now it is obviously a solid axle front end. It's on coilovers, it's linked, it's a 3-link setup. The front axle is really kind of cool. This is a Kingpin high pinion Dana 60 out of like a 1990 Ford truck. It's actually the same axle that's in Mom's Spaghetti, but if you look at it, it's got the diff on the passenger side. So I had this, I basically had it retubed up at Curry, and they retubed it so that it was passenger side drop for a high pinion, which is awesome. Actually narrowed the short side 3 inches, which was a bad move looking back on it now, but it worked at the time. And I also did a bunch of other cool stuff to the front end to where it's a 6-lug. This was one of those deals where I had bought wheels and I didn't want to have to buy wheels again, so I ended up modifying the axle to be 6-lug. And I was able to keep the wheels that I'd bought from version 1 of this rig. Let's go to the back. This is also pretty trick. It's a Curry Rock Jock high pinion 60 with an old vintage Chappelle's logo on there from my old shop. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so this is a Curry Rock Jock 60. It's a semi-float, it's 6-lug. It's pretty cool. This thing's running 538s and an ARB in the rear, and then a Grizzly locker up front. The rear is actually on airbags though, so this thing has like an airbag A-arm basically up here, and cantilever this and that, and all sorts of fancy stuff. It's pretty trick. Everything fits underneath the rig, so I was able to get a bunch of travel out of it and still have a back seat in it. That was kind of one of the things that I liked most about it. Quarter panels, you can see these are kind of wacky. These typically had a big bulge in the quarter panel, and I had smashed these things in out here, like Wheelin out here in Corral Canyon. I just like wadded this whole side up. So I ended up cutting the quarter panels out. This is 1/8 inch plate. I like added tube in. The cage is all tied into this tube work. It's partial exo caged. It's partial internal cage. It's got a tube door that unbolts. There's all kinds of crazy work done. Tailgate's all custom. This, again, like I'd backed into so much stuff, the tire going into the old tailgate just like destroyed that. So I built this custom tailgate that's like hinged on Heim joints and all kinds of stuff. So ton of little tricks. This is a cool rig. It's got a fuel cell in the back. I think it's like a 21-gallon fuel cell underneath all this aluminum work. And so it has like tool storage here. And then under the tool storage is actually an aluminum fuel cell, but it uses a stock fuel pump. So like this thing still runs good. It passes smog still in California, which is pretty crazy. What else did I do? Let's check this out. These are actually, this is like the 5th set of seats that I have in this. It was these are smart car seats. They were kind of cool. They were small and compact and fit in here pretty well. The engine is the 3.2 liter overhead cam, whatever, 32 valve V6. It makes a bunch of horsepower. It runs smooth. It has a 2-wheel drive transmission in it now. And what did I do? A little tiny drive shaft to divorce mounted dual Toyota transfer cases. So it's got all the gearing in the world. There's things that are cool about it. Like it does, it's all like stock parts and it all works really good and it's low geared, but that stuff's all very long. So the rear drive shaft is pretty short and I've got an 18-inch long rear drive shaft. So it sort of limits some of the travel, but all in all, really cool rig. It's cool to see it out here still. It's really neat to go wheeling with it when I come back to town to visit. And I will have more on this rig. You'll see clips of it wheeling from this trip that we're doing right now. And if you have any more questions about this thing, hit me up in the comments. There's obviously a ton of work that went into this. I think I started on it in 2007. And when did I sell this thing? 2018? 2019? So I had a long time. This is the rig that I own longer than anything else I've ever owned in my fleet. So this one's pretty dear to me. All right, we're gonna go finish this trail up and get out of here before dark. Crap, now we're gonna have to sleep here. Yep. Pretty cool trick right there. This is a Scout steering box out of a like 70s Scout 2. It's actually a reverse gear, so the pitman arm goes backwards. Pitman arm's all handmade by me, and it actually has a PSC. This was rebuilt by PSC, and then it's got a PSC Hydro Assist ram on it. That's a neat little trick. Track bars tucked in there. Coilover towers, you can hardly see because it's dark. Stubby front bumper with the Warren M8000 behind it. Pretty good approach angle going on there. That was a bunch of work making all that, so that's pretty fun. There's the coilover tower. This was kind of cool where it's like finger mounts for the upper deal, part tube work, part plate work. Since I sold it, he finished and built this aluminum center console for it, which is pretty cool. That sort of finished it off a little bit nicer. It's got rugged radios for communications. Oh dang, I forgot how many cool old stickers I had in here. There's an OG Bobby Long sticker. Right before he passed away, I put Bobby Long super joints in the front of this thing. Let's see. Yeah, you can see it actually still has the rear seat in it. He just has it folded down right now. Fire extinguisher over there. Air compressor over on this side. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a high lift jack, air compressor. That's for the lockers. And one of the tricks on this thing, the rock sliders are actually plumbed in, and those are air tanks. So the little air compressor fills up the tanks, and then that sort of helps it when you're going to air your tires up. Here's a cool shot of the belly pan. Underneath, that's all steel, and then the link bars. And then if you look up here, that's the A-arm. You can kind of see an A-arm with the airbag on it. It's pretty slick. All the blue paint definitely helps making it more visible. But yeah, you can see here the airbag rides up there. So this thing gets, with the bags, it actually gets about 12 inches of vertical travel in the back. And then I had to limit that a little bit with the shocks because that rear drive shaft would max out before the airbags would stop. Curry Anorak sway bar on the back, Fox shocks that I revalved, so you can actually kind of mob this thing pretty hard. And then I think this is like a Rough Stuff Specialties disc brake kit in the back. Pretty cool. A lot of history there. All right. Ooh, this was also cool. This is all metal flake, gold over green with Ultimate Adventure logo. So this was, I think this was paint job number 3 that I did on it. So pretty fun. Painted it under a pepper tree next to my sea container in a carport. And it's probably the nicest paint job I've ever done. Hope I didn't bore you with a bunch of Isuzu nerd talk, but I figured I had to show this thing off. I've talked about it. It's come up in conversation a bunch of times, and it's really cool to see that it's still out here. There's my buddy Mark. You saw him down in the shop when we were building Louis Vuitton. He came up to my house to help work on stuff, so I figured it'd be nice of me to go down to his house and ride shotgun in his Samurai and burn all his gas and drink all his beer. We are going to go run some trails, but I wanted to do a little walk around on the rig. All right, we're gonna do this kind of like dirt everyday style, 5-minute feature. Tell me what you got. What do you got? What do you got?
I got a 92 Samurai on 33s.
It is a 92 Samurai. This thing is, he's had this, what, about 8-9 years now?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And
yeah.
it's a fuel injected 1.3 liter, bad to the bone.
Ball of fire.
Yeah, ball of fire.
Yeah.
6.5 dual or 6.5 transfer cases,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
What's in the axles?
Nothing, stock. Well, I got some kind of locker in the front and a welded locker in the rear.
Yep. He had a fancy locker in the rear, but it broke, so he just welded it, so it's spooled in the back. And what's up with the front suspension?
It's got a 3-link in the front with Aerostar coils, yeah. From junkyard.
This thing's awesome. It's still on Samurai axles. It has crossover steering. It's a 3-link. Yep. Those are Ford Aerostar coils out of the rear of an Aerostar. That's an old trick that we used to always do. Homebrew 3-link setup. Old school pipe cap, diff cover guard. Homebrew front bumper. This thing is rad. What are those, Gamblers?
Gamblers, yeah. I think they're American Racing Gamblers.
Yeah, American
Champion beadlocks.
Yeah. These are kind of an old school trick where the beadlock, before they were making true beadlock wheels, you would send out your old wheels and get the beadlock rings welded on. What do you have in the back?
Oh, I got 2.5-inch YJ springs, spring under.
New fuel filter?
Oh yeah.
And then this was a cage that I helped him build like years ago.
He's helped me by doing it for me.
Yeah. He's giant, and he had 2 big kids and a wife, and so we built the cage kind of tall and originally made it so that it was kind of like a side-by-side that would seat four people. So kind of funky looking now, but it's still comfortable and gets the job done. What else? You built this cool bumper for it?
Oh yeah, built a cool bumper for it. Didn't want anything hanging way out.
Yeah. Recessed the taillights so you wouldn't.
So I wouldn't break them.
You wouldn't break them.
Broke them anyway.
That worked.
Yeah.
This thing's cool.
Did some rock sliders.
Oh yeah, it's got rock sliders that are like canted at an angle, so they're kind of like mini boat sides. This thing is rad.
Oh, half doors.
Oh yeah, check this out. Show them the half doors. So these are just a stock Samurai door that he like did a ton of work to.
Too much.
Yeah, there's like a piece of round bar that's welded in here to stiffen this to create like a pocket to store your stuff. This is like an old Volkswagen door lever or something that's turned into this, and top's capped and body worked. It's got a bunch of Raptor liner inside. And what's up with the seats?
Oh, I had the seats redone in houndstooth. Got rid of the headrests.
Yeah.
For that old school vibe.
That's pretty rad. You're probably only in this rig, what, about $1,500?
I think I'm really into about 4,500 bucks.
Okay.
Actually, I bought it for 300 bucks.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was one of the cool things on this is he bought this and the engine was like in the passenger seat.
Yeah,
So yeah. So he had the engine gone through by the guys up at Petroworks, right? So oh, pop the hood. The thing under the hood looks really nice. It's way nicer than any of the crap I own. Samurais are so cool. Yep, this thing's awesome. Doug Thorley tri-Y header on it. Power steering, pump, and box off of a Geo Tracker. Old English 800 overflow, because that's mandatory. This is all the homemade shock towers and spring mounts that he did. I think it's power steering reservoir off like an Audi or something, isn't it?
I think it's a sidekick also.
Okay.
Geo Tracker.
Pretty neat. Everything's
Rocker
really
box.
little tiny battery with a bunch of cool work to like make the battery box right. This thing rips. It doesn't rip, but it works good.
Big alternator.
Oh yeah, what is this? Is that just
Chevy
a GM alternator?
Yeah.
This thing's rad.
It's pretty dialed for a bone stock Samurai.
It is. It's the best $1,500 car I've ever seen. It's got a good bunch of cool stuff. It's got cup holders and shift knobs and all the stuff you need. CB retractable deal there.
Stickers.
Yeah,
Stickers.
all the stickers you need. It's a pretty cool little rig. Oh yeah. Yeah, every time I talk to Mark, I'm like, how's your S10 going, your real Rockcrawler? And he's like, I'm putting mirror mounts on my Samurai. I spent all weekend putting this vent tube in so that...
So I can go do Fordyce.
Yeah.
Cool river crossing.
Oh yeah, you gotta watch. Where's the video of the river crossing on this? He took this thing up to Fordyce in the spring.
It's a heat wave video.
Yeah, it's from Heatwave Visual, and it was where like the Eisenhower brothers and he and the Heatwave Glasses guys went to Fordyce, and he was doing the water crossing when it was way gnarlier than this thing should have been in it. It was wild. So go watch that episode and keep following along. I don't think this Samurai is going anywhere. It'll just continue to get work done and changed over the years. All right, we're gonna go four-wheeling and see if it works as good as it looks. I know it does. All right, that's it for this dirt head shed.